said, tell me who it is, Lord. You know, I'll take care of him because I would never deny you. I would never, I'll even die for you, Lord. And then as time went on, he spoke some more, and he looked at me in the eyes, and he said, Peter, before the rooster crows, you will have denied me 3 times. My heart sank. What is he saying? I would never deny my Lord. Would you? Well, Jesus then took some of his disciples, and we went out, and he said, stand here and watch and wait while I go into the garden and pray to my Father. We didn't know what we were watching for, so we waited. We fell asleep once, and Jesus came out. And then finally, when he came out, we saw a bunch of torches coming through the woods. And all of a sudden, there were soldiers around us. And then Judas, one of our very own, went up to Jesus and he kissed him on the cheek. And the Pharisee said, he's the one, arrest him. Well, as the soldiers came forward to take him, I grabbed a sword and I swung it and I sliced and I took the ear off of one of the soldiers. And Jesus came over and picked it up and very calmly placed it back on and healed him. He said, Peter, I have everything under control. I said, I know you do, Lord, but you know, I'll fight for you. I'll fight to the end if I have to. He said, Peter, I want them to see me. And as long as your sword is drawn, that's all they're going to see. Do you have swords drawn? With bitterness, of anger? What do people see? Do they see Jesus? Or do they see your sword? Well, they were taking Jesus. Finally, they tied him up and they were taking him away. And as we went, and I was watching, and oh, my heart was dying. They were starting to beat him, and they took him, and we were standing around the fire, and all of a sudden, a woman said to the soldiers, hey, he's one of the disciples, arrest him too. I said, no, you're mistaken. I'm not one of them. You're thinking of somebody else. Well, they went ahead and they took him a little farther. And they took off his garments and they put on a purple robe. And I was dying and watching what was going on, and they were beating, and they went to a trial, and it was getting worse and worse, and I didn't know what to do. And 2 more times, different ones yelled out to the soldiers, here's one of the disciples, take him and arrest him also. I am not one of his. Please leave me alone. You don't know who I am. Just let me be. And then in the short way, I heard a rooster start to announce the coming of the new day. My heart sank. What have I done? I have done just what Jesus said. I denied my Lord. I did not stand up for him. I was not fighting for him. And we went a little farther, and they continued to beat him, and our eyes crossed. And as I looked at Jesus, it was not a face of anger or hatred or betrayal, but it was a look of peace and of love. And I felt in my heart, as I looked at him, I felt that he had already forgiven me, just as he's forgiven you. Well, we went on, and the crowd went wild. They were yelling, crucify him, crucify him. They put a crown of thorns on his head, and they were beating him, and I couldn't watch it anymore, and I had to leave. I once said I would die for him. Now I wish I could. I wish I could.